G'day folks, welcome to my response to the 20 questions of Metal Tag 2023. G'day folks, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing a response video to a Metal Tag 2023. This is a annual video that the Rock Scout puts out where he lists 20 questions for people to respond to about, their metal collection and the like. So it looked like fun. I thought, what the hell? Good chance for me to ramble on about my collection and new editions and the like. So enjoy. The first question is a false start album. So an album that you didn't like at first but you grew to really love. There's plenty of these for me. There's certain artists like Catatonia, one of my favourite bands. For some reason their albums always take a couple of goes for me to really get into. But today I've chosen Voivod with Angel Rat. This is their, sixth album or something or other. Probably one of their softer albums, you could say. At the time, I'd never had actually copy of it in the early days. I think I'd heard it once and just went, I think it was deemed as alternative metal, which wasn't really a great thing back in 1991 when it came out. So I think I was very heftily on the path to death metal, which I haven't actually strayed from. But so yeah, this one was just not quite my deal. I didn't get a proper copy of it for many years after that, but finally have it now. It's still not really my favourite of their albums. It is quite alternative, you could say, but over the years I've really grown to appreciate it a lot more than I used to at any rate. It's kind of weird because, Nothing Face is my favourite album, the album just prior to this. And they don't sound that different, but for some reason this just didn't really grab me. But now I love it. The Prow's a great song. Heaps of good songs on their title track. So, yeah, not sure why, but I still hate the cover art though. Second question is an album with war themes or lyrics. So, how could I go past this? This is Sodom Persecution Mania from 1987, I think. There's plenty of war on this. There's post-apocalyptic kind of songs mostly, your usual. Well, there is a song called Nuclear Winter, I think. So, this is actually this and Agent Orange are probably my favourite era of Sodom. It's stuff I heard first, so I wasn't really into the die-hard, obsessed by cruelty sort of stuff in the early days. So this is what I think of with Sodom, and yes, plenty of war, plenty of grimness about it. Plus this has got Iron Fist cover, so can't go wrong there. So yeah, great album. The third question is most influential metal musician of the last 10 years. I wasn't quite sure how to take this question. I don't actually play any instruments, so no one's really influenced me per se. So I was just trying to think of good songwriters that, are in various bands. Originally I was going to do the Blood Incantation fellows because they're in, Spectral Voice as well as Stormkeep, and I love all three of those bands. But in the end I chose Andrew Lee. He's from Ripped to Shreds, which is a sort of, Swedish death metal-y kind of sounding band that are bloody killer. He's also in Hakugo Grind Time, which is his solo grind project that's bloody impressive. And he's also got Andrew Lee's Shrapnel, which is a shred sort of album, which isn't really my favourite thing. I don't know, I still remember back in the day as a young youth here listening to the Cacophony album with a mate and just going, where the hell's all the good songs? It's just bloody widdly diddly guitar solos. But yeah, so his Shrapnel thing's not the favourite of mine, but I really like his heavier stuff. And I do appreciate his sense of humour as well. He's like, the first Hakugo's got this ridiculous piss take on rather ridiculous Trey Azagthoth Morbid Angel photo of him with his Ibanez and Sailor Moon picture in the background. And the new album has a cabbage on the cover, so yeah. I appreciate his sense of humour. He's also got a weird sort of side project called, what is it called? Archignini, which I think is sort of like a Great Cat meets Archigathus sort of grind band with shreddy sort of style doing classical songs. So yeah, I like that he's having fun with it. Plus he plays his ridiculous bloody headless guitars that just look stupid. But anyway, so yeah, good work, mate. Keep up the good work. Question number 4 is band on your to see list. There's a million bands that I haven't seen. I would very much like to, but probably top of the range I reckon would be Demolik, Finnish death metal lords that I nearly saw at least once. I think they maybe pulled out of an MDF that I was supposed to see them at, but I was supposed to go over to a California Death Fest, I think, and see them on a number of side dates as well, but my stupid boss at the time didn't want to give me leave, which was very irritating. So yeah, that one fell through. But them, I'd also really like to see Butcher ABC from Japan. They're just that nice, super heavy bolt throwery style that I think would be quite enjoyable live. And I'm very glad to see like Bile are back together now, well, playing festivals at any rate. Very much wouldn't mind seeing them. They're, again, super heavy sound. So yeah, but yeah, Demolish for sure. Question number 5 is an album that energizes you. Not quite sure exactly what that means, but I took it to mean very powerful, that really gets you amped up, and for that I chose Suffocation, Effigy the Forgotten. Classic New York death metal. Had this for donkey's years. Always enjoyed it. I didn't used to allow myself to drive a car while listening to either this or Slayer, just because I don't know if I actually got speeding tickets, but as a youth I used to drive a bit too fast at times. So yeah, this was... I remember catching myself a number of times going, oh shit, I better slow down a bit. But yeah, I also quite enjoyed this one back in the days when I used to go to the gym. This and Morbid Angel were very good for that really boring cardio work. I don't know, it's good to listen to music that you know very well. And yeah, this was high energy. The next question is, Big Freeze show an album cover with snow or ice on it, or lyrics to that effect. Originally I've immediately thought of Immortal, as one does. And yeah, Dark Throne as well. So, but surprisingly, going through my collection, it wasn't that easy. There was obvious Autopsy choice, but in the end I chose Beketh Nexu, or however the hell you pronounce that stupid name, because I've got like multiple releases, all of which appear to have pretty much the same bloody album cover. I don't know, I swear the guy just did one photo shoot out in the snow and has just been reusing it. But yeah, it's a Swedish black metal band that have been around for not that long, but they have a lot of releases. The guy behind it has a lot of other bands as well, so yeah, it's got prolific output, you could say. So yeah. But yeah, every album cover. Snowy Forest. Love it. The next question is a song title with royal ties. I assumed because the Queen carked it last year. For me, first thing I thought of was Catasexual Urge Motivation and their charming song Bleeding for Sperm Queen. It was a crazy Japanese sort of cyber grind, weird sort of band. All their songs are about serial killers and nastiness, so yeah. It's actually one of my favourite songs of theirs, so yeah. Question 8 is a predominantly green album cover. For this, I've immediately thought of Dead Can Dance with The Serpent's Egg. I then realised that this is a heavy metal list, but bugger it, who cares? This band are listed on the Disembowelment album, so that's heavy enough for me. And to tell the truth, this is probably more powerful than half the metal that I own. So, but yeah, I love this album. This is a weird sort of band. If you don't know Dead Can Dance, check them out because they're amazing. But this has got the Host of Seraphim, which is one of my favourite songs, and I want to play it at my funeral. I think it's one of their more powerful songs. Would go very well live. So yeah, Dead Can Dance. Next question is an album released in 2021 that you bought and didn't listen to, well, in the year 2022. So for me, I picked Carcass, Torn Arteries. I don't know, it was an alright album. It got a lot of hate when it came out. Not quite sure why. It sounds pretty reasonable for later era Carcass. But yeah, I checked my last FM and wasn't on there, so sorry boys. Yeah, it's alright, but I mean, if I'm going to listen to Carcass, it'll be Symphonies or Reek or Necroticism, to tell the truth. Yeah, I kind of wish I bought the really stupid bloody knife and fork version of this just for the sheer stupidity of it, but yeah, this one will do. The next question is best find, old or new, of 2022. Now, I did buy a few sort of older, crustier ones, like that Voivod one I was pretty happy with, and Unseen Terror Peel Sessions I was pretty happy with. But in the end, I decided to pick the reissue of the Lord Weird Slough-Egg's Traveller album. This is my favourite album theirs by a mile. I think the original record was only pressed like 500, and there's only 500 of this reissued one as well, I think. Yeah, the original one was very hard to come by. It's like 20 years old or something or other. But yeah, they reissued this, and I was, jumped on that quick smart. Took bloody ages to come. Came bloody dinged with a dinged corner as well. I was a bit peeved about, but yeah, this is one of my favourite of these. I don't even know what style these guys are. Heavy metal. That's pretty much what they sound like. It's an amazing album. If you haven't heard it, definitely check it out. I'll put a link below because it's just phenomenal. And I mean, look at that cover art. That's why it was on one of my other videos, the favourite cover art ones that aren't Iron Maiden. But yeah, amazing album. It's only like, I don't know, probably 35 minutes long, if that. But killer band. Next question is new band or album discovery of 2022. There was plenty of brand new bands that came out that year, but I've chosen a band that I discovered while I was researching for my Relapse video. A band called Realize. They put out this album on RSR, To Live a Lie, and also this album on Relapse. It's actually a couple of years old by now, but it's super heavy industrial metal sort of stuff that, as I said in my Relapse video, I didn't realise they were still making this sort of stuff. So I was very happy to hear these guys. This is a couple of years old by now, but yeah, so I'm looking forward to new stuff of them, assuming they're still around. But yeah, just super heavy, godfleshy kind of stuff, or pitch shifter more, I think. But yeah, right up my alley. Very good stuff. The next question is an album sold to you by a song. So I really enjoy getting compilations because you get to hear a whole lot of different bands, and I've discovered a ton of stuff through great compilations over the years. But for this one, I chose the Century Media Firestarter compilation. I seem to recall this was like $5 or $10. It was really cheap when it came out back in the, I don't know, mid-90s. But this was Century Media with a ton of black metal bands on it. I mean, I had heard a lot of them at the time, but this is where I discovered Ulva, I think, for the first time. I don't think I'd heard them prior to that. I hadn't heard Bergtat or whatever the second album's called. So yeah, this the song on here is the first song off this, which, as you would know, has a super harsh bloody sound, and yeah, compared to all the slightly better produced other black metal songs on here, just blew my head off. I was like, holy crap, is this really supposed to sound like this? But after listening to it a few times, it really grew on me. It's great songs. But the other song on here that really blew me away was Murder by Catatonia. I had already gotten into Catatonia earlier on their Dance of December Souls album. My friend Irene gave me a tape of that because she was a diehard fan. But for some reason I hadn't actually picked this one up. I don't know why. But yeah, Murder off this was just killer song. It's got that lovely clean bit in it that sold me. I think it's also got one of their more blatant Paradise Lost borrowings as well. So, yeah, damn good little compilation. So, sorry, there's two answers to that question, but oh well, what the hell. The next question is most anticipated album of 2023. I don't really know a huge amount about what's scheduled to come out, but I've already pre-ordered two releases that I'll give as my answer for this. Catatonia's new album, what is it, Sky Void of Stars, and Ahab's new album, The Coral Tombs. I think both of them come out this month, actually, so looking forward to that. Huge Catatonia fan, so very keen for any new music of theirs. And Ahab are killer sort of funeral doomy kind of band from Germany that, yeah, they're a very impressive band. They started off pretty simple, but getting a lot more complex and really loving their stuff, so very much looking forward to both of those. They'll be in my upcoming January or February arrivals, I'd hazard a guess. The next question was the 23rd album on your shelf. I've got a number of shelves, so it could have been CDs or records, so I chose records, and unsurprisingly it was a band beginning with A, and it was Acid Witch with their Witch-tanic Hallucinations album. This is their first album. They're a sort of kind of spooky, keyboardy, doom sort of band. Bloody good, actually. Unsurprisingly, they have lots of songs about Halloween and witches and the like. Yeah, I bought this off the band, actually, off Mike the guitarist at an MDF one year. This is the band pressing version of it, so the original one, with green vinyl, I believe. And yeah, this is back when they had Lassie from what's his name, Hooded Menace on vocals as well. So, but I think Slasher Dave and Shagrat are the main dudes of the band. So yeah, pretty spooky, for bloody good album, and killer cover art as well. Question 15 is the last album that has gone into your collection. When I was writing stuff for this yesterday, originally it was Parasitic Equilibrium's new album, but I got mail this morning, so for me it's Realized with their 21st Century Terminal World album. This is originally from, I don't know, 2005 on Bloodbath Records, but just recently came out on RSR on records, so I thought, yeah, what the hell. It's one of my favourite Japanese grind albums. Bloody killer stuff. It's just raw, but catchy as hell. Sort of like a spiritual successor to From Enslavement to Obliteration, I reckon, with a bit of Motorhead thrown in as well. So, yeah, these guys are definitely one of my favourite Japanese grind bands. Fortunately, I don't know if they've done a huge amount else other than this. I've got a few, like, splits or EPs that are not very long. I mean, this isn't very long in the first place. But yeah, it's got great vocals in the crazed Japanese style of, Swarm or Bathtub Shitter, and yeah, it's just all-round killer bloody album. I'm glad to have this on record. The next question is a random pull from your collection. So for this, I used a random number generator and picked a number of one of the pages of my Discogs. Sure enough, at the top of that was Evoken with Antithesis of Light. This is killer funeral doom or death doomy sort of band. Definitely one of my favourites. I love this band so much. I was very glad to see him, I think, a couple of times at any rate, maybe 2 or 3 times. Yeah, amazing death doom sort of stuff. This is not quite as disembowelment worshipy as their previous album Quietus, which is probably one of my favourites of theirs. But yeah, this is killer stuff. Slightly expanded the style a bit on this, which is really good, but yeah, just amazing, heavy as hell. The next question is a band or artist that you discovered through social media. There's plenty of that because that's half of what I use Facebook for, is finding new bands. But for me, I decided to choose Miasmatic Necrosis with their Apex Profane album from 2020. This is a very, very gory gore grind band from America. I think I was mostly sold on this because it's got Paulo from Capremesis in it, as well as Dan from BioLeech, and I heard that it sounded like Regurgitate, so I was like, hey, I'll be getting that. And I mean, look at that bloody album cover. It's probably why I chose this, just so I could show this off. It's yeah, they like their gore, these boys. But yeah, this is incredible bloody album. I mean, it is very Regurgitate-y sounding, but it's fine by me. Regurgitate aren't around, so I'm happy for someone else to pick up the Chalice of Blood. But yeah, if you like your gore, if you like your grind gory, this is the one. The next question is, where do you see your collection going in the next 5 years, considering the price of music's increasing and the like? And my answer to that was another room. Yeah, I don't see myself slowing down too dramatically unless I lose my job or something horrible like that. So, yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen. Yeah, I love getting new music in the mail and I love cranking it loud on my stereo. So, yeah. If anything, I may go through my CDs behind me and cull out some that I haven't listened to in donkey's years. I may well move into the shed with my other crappy CDs that I haven't listened to in years. But yeah, it's going up and up and up. That's where my collection's going. The next question is a new release that came out this year that you didn't buy on price alone. So in other words, something too expensive. For me, that was the Celtic Frost and Voivod box sets. Partly because I already have half if not more of the stuff. I am still vaguely tempted by that Voivod one, so if I see it cheap, then yeah, that may well get snaffled. The other one I'll mention is a 7-inch of Profanatica, their pale fuck 7-inch, charming boys. Mainly because for some reason it was $30 for the record, not even including postage from America to Australia. So yeah, I had no idea why it was so bloody expensive. It's like a 7-inch. It's like, I don't know, I added up the music. It looks to be about 12 minutes long. It's cheap. It was more expensive than half of their records on Bandcamp, so like their full-length albums. So yeah, don't know what's going on there. But yeah, I don't think I'll be buying it somehow. And the last question is a song that doesn't belong, a song that lets an album down. Originally I was going to pick Changes by Black Sabbath from their Volume 4 album, because I love that album, but that song never really kind of did it for me. But I listened to it yesterday, I was like, oh yeah, it's not that bad, I suppose. So in the end I chose Sylvester Anfang from Mayhem's Death Crush EP. I know it's done by krautrock legend Konrad Schnitzler from Tangerine Dream and a million other things, but I don't know, it just sounds horrendously out of place. It's got that, epoxy electronic drum sound that when, it might sound good on some things as an intro, but something as raw and horrible sounding as Death Crush. It's just, yeah, ridiculous. And plus, it reminds me of that bloody Grand Declaration of War album for some reason, so it's even more reason to dislike it. So yeah, just, I don't know. There's no way I'm listening to that and then going into Death Crush, which is killer bloody song, you know, totally raw. I think this could have been perfect with, like, you know, I like the idea of, like, you know, war drum kind of intro, but if it was done on proper sounding drums, it'd probably sound alright, but yeah, no way. So that's my 20 answers to Metal Tag 2023. So thanks to Scott from the Rock Scout for coming up with that idea. I'll put a link to his channel as well as the questions themselves below. So yeah, feel free to do it yourself. And yeah, thanks for watching. Cheers.